In my continued quest to experience and share all things guitar, I have in my hands a budget double neck guitar. But is it any good? Hey there, I'm Dan, the self-proclaimed Lonely Rocker. Thank you so much for joining me today. Check out this bad boy. I'm super excited about this. I've always wanted a double neck guitar. For me, it's so iconic. I'm into classic rock and progressive rock. Think of the image of the 70s, Jimmy Page. For me, it's Alex Lifeson from Rush and his white EDS 1275, just so iconic with him playing Xanadu. Love it, love it, love it. But the Gibson EDS 1275 is quite expensive, and you'll pay more in sales tax on that guitar than you will on this whole guitar. But doesn't matter how much we pay, is it worth your time and money? Now, I reached out to Westcreek because I had previously reviewed this racer over here. This is their take on an SG, and for the money, which I did pay for this one, I was pleasantly surprised of how good the quality was on this guitar, the attention to detail. Now, if you want to see that video, I'll link it at the end card so you can check it later. But today we're going to dive into this guy. So I want to take a look at all the features. I don't know, I'm going to double scrutinize this guitar to see if it's worth our time and money. So let's start off by checking out the specs of this guitar. The Westcreek Double Trouble is a double neck guitar with a 12 string on the top and a 6 string on the bottom. The body's mahogany and the neck is maple with a rosewood fingerboard. And there are 4 Alnico humbucker pickups. I can't find any information on the material of the frets, but they are nicely polished with very smooth ends. Both have 22 frets and the triangle pearloid inlays. The necks are fully finished and have a D-shaped profile. Very comfortable in my hands. Again, there's no information on the material of the nuts, but they are both nicely cut. The tuners are non-branded and non-locking. The signature Westcreek headstock posts their logo and scribble pattern in pearloid with a nice smooth black finish. Both have stop tailpieces and Tune-o-matic style bridges. The body has a gentle bevel on the front and a nice contour on the back. And to be expected, this guitar is a bit of a backbreaker at over 12 pounds. And with 2 necks, you can bet it has a bit of neck dive. But that's the cost of rocking a cool double neck guitar. All right, as I like to do on this channel, is I like to record things. So I'm going to plug this thing in. I've actually had it for a couple of weeks now. Got a feel for it to see if I liked it, see if it inspired me. The only thing I did to it is I actually replaced the strings, and I should have done a video about changing the strings. If you've ever had to change strings on a double neck guitar, especially a 12 string, it was my first time doing it. That would have been a laugh, but unfortunately that will have to just stay in my memory. But we're going to record this thing. I'm going to run it through my new favorite amplifier. This is the Evo TM50. It's an all-tube amplifier. We're going direct into here, running that into my system. I'm going to throw a cab iron there, probably a V30 of some sort. But I'm going to take you through the 2 necks, a couple of different pickup configurations, just so we can hear what it can do. All right, so I just want to give you a lay of the land here. If you've never used a double neck guitar before, you've got 2 guitars built into one. We've got a 6 string on the bottom, a 12 string on the top, and we have a series of switches here, toggle switches and dials. So the toggle switch here in the middle is our toggle between the 2 guitars. So in the down position, we have access to the bottom guitar. And if we flip it up, just clean this up a bit here, then we have the clean tones on the 12 string. And putting it in the middle position activates both necks at the same time, so you can do that like two-handed tapping stuff, which clearly is not my forte. All right, so down in the down position once again, put a little distortion on here again. So we've got the 3-position toggle switch here on the bottom. So on the bottom position, just like typical double humbucker guitar, we have access to the bridge position humbucker. Now if we go into the middle position, I'll bring in some clean tone here. By the way, I'm just running direct into the fractal for this demonstration here. Anyway, so a little middle position actione. Nice. And then back a little distortion. Let's kick it into the neck position. All right, so let's switch over to the 12-string guitar. So we put it in the up position here. In the down position, we have the humbucker in the bridge position here. And my favorite position, I think, for this 12-string is the middle position. Sort of gives you that full body effect. And then lastly, all the way up, we have the neck position humbucker here. And lastly, I want to show you something cool here. I'm going to turn off the reverb, and then I'm going to put this in the 12-string position, but I'm actually going to play the 6-string guitar and listen to this effect. Pretty cool. There's no reverb, it's just resonating through the body, maybe picking up a little bit through the pickups here, and the 12 strings are just resonating really cool. You could add some delay and reverb and come up with some really cool effects. I'll have to experiment with that in a future song. I should also mention the dials here are a little bit different. If you were using a typical humbucker guitar with 4 dials, you'd have 2 volumes and 2 tones. But the bottom row here applies to the bottom guitar, so you have a master volume for both pickups and a master tone. And then the top dials here control the 12-string guitar, so again, you have a master volume for both pickups and a tone control that affects both pickups. All right, so I want to share my fully transparent experience using this guitar. I really hate the word review. I mean, sitting here, I've had 2 weeks or so to play with this guitar before I did this video. Admittedly, I'm not a 12-string player. Now, in terms of chords and notes, I mean, playing a 12-string guitar in standard tuning is the same as playing a 6-string guitar, except you're fretting 2 strings at a time. I did have to work at it a little bit, but it is a different instrument, right? And it's a different feel. Now, in terms of, intonation and action and things like that, it's actually pretty solid. I was surprised. Tuning a 12-string guitar also is something quite different. I mean, the strings are so close together, so you really have to pluck each one individually, get everything tuned. And just sort of the whole layout of the land here at first was a little confusing to me, but it's also a completely different dimension. That open big 12-string sound just unlocked another layer in my game here making music. So if I want to pull out something different, well, I'm going to pull this out. Other than that, overall, the experience was really pleasant playing this guitar. I mean, it is a budget guitar, and I want to make it clear that there has to be compromises somewhere here to make this guitar affordable. We can discuss manufacturing process and all that, but I'm not privy to anything Westcreek is doing. I'm just playing the guitar here, and I know how much it costs. In US dollars, somewhere between $400 plus $500 to $550 Canadian dollars. And I've noticed on Amazon, which is the only place I've seen Westcreek, is these are not always available. So if you do see one and you're kind of thinking about it, Amazon has a good return policy, right? So I always recommend you try things anyways. I'll never tell you that this is for you. But my experience was really positive, considering this is not an expensive guitar, and it really offers a lot and that extra dimension, as I said. And it's cool at parties, right? But there has to be compromises somewhere to make this guitar affordable. And I want to draw attention to those, not to knock the guitar, but just to be transparent about my experience. The tuners are okay. They're actually okay. The guitar stays in tune for the most part. I find that I had to adjust a little bit when I start playing a bit more. I like locking tuners anyways, and this is an upgrade that I often consider in a lot of my guitars. I have a $1,300 Schecter, and I ended up spending more to get better tuner, so it's not unusual that I would do that even on a higher priced guitar. So, but these are non-branded and they're doing okay. The ratio there, it's not as precise as I would typically like, but again, I can't complain because they're pretty stable, and I don't think you can expect more than that. But clearly, there's some cost savings here. The pickups are good for the money. Again, out of the box, you can play this guitar. If you're more of a beginner, I don't know if a beginner should be buying a double neck guitar, but if it's your first double neck guitar, again, compromises. I would look to upgrade the pickups just because I like a bit more higher output, where these are, I'd say, kind of medium. I didn't take measurements, so I can't tell you exactly what they are, but just how my amp reacted to it. I needed to give it a little extra juice or push, but they're good, again, considering the cost of the guitar. If I was to upgrade all of the tuners here, I mean, you need 3 sets. You got 18 tuners here between the two necks. So you're going to spend at least the cost of this guitar just to upgrade the tuners. And then with the pickups, you get a good set of pickups. Again, more than the price of this guitar. So you're going to more than triple the cost of this guitar just upgrading the tuners and the pickups, just to put this all into perspective. Now, is it worth it? That is the question. Get yourself in the game, get yourself your double neck guitar. Would I consider upgrading this guitar in the future? And the answer is actually yes, because I'm pleasantly surprised with the build quality of this guitar. There's certain things that are easy to update. You can update the pickups and the tuners and even change the knobs and even change the dials here if you want. Those are easy upgrades. But the fit and finish, the build of the guitar, that becomes more complicated, and that's where it wouldn't be worth it. And I have to say, much like the Racer over here, is the build quality is sensational for the price that you're paying for this guitar. And I'm saying that honestly, just the finish along the bindings. Often you'll see around the nut is where you'll often see limitations on some guitars. More expensive guitars, we see complaints all the time where the neck meets the body. Even just look at the nut and the way they've cut the nut here. Everything is nice and straight. The saddles are slotted as well. I know some guitars are just riding on top. No, everything's been slotted. That's all time and care put into this. And also, I love the inlays on this guitar. I do miss having that extra color here at the 12th fret. That's something they did on the Racer where the inlay is red. It's a nitpicky thing because it's not as obvious what they do here, but I'm generally looking at the side anyways, and you've got the dot markers here. But again, the detail work, putting in inlays like this, and I said this in the last video, is the insignia here and the logo here. They could have silk screened this, but it's got this pearl effect here. Beautifully done, nice looking headstock. Pride of craftsmanship. You look at that headstock and see what they do. It's not necessary on a budget friendly guitar, yet they still attention to detail. And those headstocks are really cool. This take on a Gibson, but it's kind of all their own with that little wave or swoop there. So really, really nice. So overall, it's a well-built guitar, a lot of guitar for the money. And if it's something you'd want to start with and maybe upgrade in the future, I definitely think it's worthy of being a project guitar as well. And you have room to grow here, and definitely think it'd be worth the upgrade. Anyways, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. That's what the comment section is for. And if you did enjoy this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. And while you're down there, well, I mentioned this Westcreek Racer. If you're into a SG style guitar, well, I've got the video sitting right here if you want to check that out. And remember, you don't need a band to rock and roll. I'll catch you in the next one.